Hi everyone, my name is Nat Hugill. I'm an actor by trade, but I am also a burlesque, cabaret and vaudeville performer. I usually perform under the guise of Lilly, Loca. And I'm also a secondary school trained drama teacher, and I thought, well, I may as well do a little bit of a web series. One of my big passions apart from performing is teaching, and I love to share my knowledge and what I've learned through my various different performing and also through my teaching career with you. So today what I decided to do was do a little short snippet on characterization and techniques and the importance of it. So with characters, for me a character is... The problem that I have with people and characters is that characters, to be able to be played convincingly, need to have some sort of backstory. They need to be somewhat realistic. It's kind of like, as humans, right, we have things that have happened to us in our past that have shaped who we have become and who we are today. Such as, you know, like some things have been great, some things that we experience in our past and in our presence are not particularly nice. There's a range of emotions that we've experienced. We've had different life experiences, like, you know, when you go on your OE and, you know, your first kiss and all of those kind of things, and they help to shape who you are. And without those intrinsic things, we're not really human. So to be able to create a three-dimensional character, you need to have some sort of backstory. And the great thing about that is, like, I've encountered it when I've been in character. One of my characters that I play is called Gary Crumbert, and he's a very inept but very lovable geek. And what I've encountered is sometimes I'll be a roving character, like I might go and do a performance gig and then come out as him afterwards. And people will throw me curly questions like, "Oh, so Gary, what'd you do last Friday?" Yeah, or you know, and things like that. And if you haven't asked yourself those kind of hard questions about your character, unless you're a freaking awesome improviser, which you might be, you're kind of left stranded and you could corpse, which is no good. So, backstories. Now, I have character profile sheets for all my characters. I only have, well, Lilly, I suppose, who I'm most well known for, she's more of an alter ego. She's more of a representation of parts of my personality. She is different from me, but she and I are essentially the same. And currently, at this very moment, I am changing her from an alter ego to a character. So yes, she'll still have those intrinsic parts of my personality, but I'll be creating a fictional backstory around those. So with a character profile, it will start with the very beginning. So your name, where you live, who your brothers and sisters are, your family, what your family dynamic is, are you living at home still with your parents, and you want to go really in depth, like start thinking about, okay, what was this character's life like at school? Did they have anybody that they looked up to? What was their high school life like? Who's their best friend? What does your character do on a typical Friday evening? If your character had 3 items on them at all times, what would they be and why? You know, so you really want to start thinking about those kind of things. With that, then you have a whole 3-dimensional character that you can really take away, and it's a lot easier to embody a character when you've got that backstory and when you know so much about them. And it also helps for those curly questions that you may experience along the way. Once you've once you've internalized your character, you really want to start thinking about how you're going to physicalize your character. And you kind of need to know who they are and their personality traits and their quirks and maybe what they wear before you really go into the physicality of them. There's several different ways that you can do this, and the easiest way that I find to do it is figure out how you use your drama techniques. The drama techniques that you use are voice, body, movement, and space. Voice, under each of these is obviously the little sub bits. So for voice, that incurs everything in terms of accent, breath, the pace, the tempo, you know, the way that you show tone, you know, with body is some like facial expressions. How does your character show that they're happy or sad or angry? And, you know, the way, are you open? Are you quite a broad, open character? Open characters tend to be, you know, quite happy with themselves, and they really want to express themselves, really confident. Closed characters who tend to be, like, I guess if we have to relate it to someone in real life, it would be someone who's quite shy or quite introverted, you know, closed shoulders, sort of downcast eyes, don't want to have anything to do with the rest of the world. Those sort of things. And maybe your posture, the way that you stand, your movement is the way, not necessarily how it is kind of how your character moves, but it's more about like the direction in which your character moves, the pace in which your character moves, the energy that your character moves with. Look up 7 levels of tension. That's really, really important. I won't go into that now, but look it up. And it can all start from things like your points of lead. For example, if you have a character that is quite a evocative and quite sexualized lady with rather large assets, if you know what I mean, you would usually, it depends on if you're playing that character quite realistically or if it's kind of a bit of a slapstick character as to how much you accentuate where you lead from, but I would generally lead that character from their chest, and so they would move forward and they would be quite pronounced in their chest and quite swayed back. For another example, as a male, if you were playing an old man who's maybe a little bit dodgy, you'd probably want to, you know, generally older men have rounded shoulders, generally, and a bit of a curved C-back, and you'd want to tilt your pelvic right in, and you might walk with your legs splayed out. So your pelvic would be where all your point of lead comes from. So those are a few little. Also think about your feet placement. Hugely important. I've run through this real quickly, but I also teach a characterization and technique workshop, which goes through all of those things really in depth. I also go through the Stanislavski principles. Stanislavski was a Russian theatre practitioner who created a series of questions and sort of philosophies and rules, I suppose, to guide actors into becoming quite real and creating subtext for all of their actions and reactions. So I also go through that. If you like, I do them in Auckland. I am taking the workshop down to Christchurch, and I am also, hopefully I'll be doing it in Wellington soon. So if you're interested, then please go to my website, which is www.nataliehugill.com, Hugill, and if you have a look under the apps tab and then click on that and then hover your mouse over that and it will come up with workshops, then click on that and then it will tell you when the latest workshop is coming up. So I'd love to see you there. Next time, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I might do a little bit about classic sort of burlesque moves. But if there's anything that you would like to know, any advice that you would like me to give you, please comment below and I'll try my best to make that happen for you. Otherwise, until next time, ka kite.